Welcome back. Welcome back to I'm Not a Fan Unless I Have a Podcast. I'm John Hanford, and it feels amazing to be back. Been gone for a little while. Had to take care of, basically just keeping my head in check and making sure that I wasn't going to go nuts. It's very weird when you go through some things just because like even though I am 30, I'm still very much coming into my own as an adult. And I felt a major shift this summer, spending like 2 months at home with my parents and seeing just how far I've come as an individual from, how I was raised and the environment in which I grew up. And it was a lot, just a lot of reckoning. And this is all stuff that I'm open about. I'm not, these aren't just excuses I'm putting out. Like this is stuff that legitimately fascinates me. But at the same time, it's kind of like psychedelics. Like it fascinates me, but it's also terrifying, and it can be, kind of crippling in the moment. And so it's just a matter of feeling it out. And ultimately, when my head is so full of thoughts that are, just thoughts of anguish constantly, that's not going to make for a very good podcast. Especially talking about something that's not even me. We're talking about King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and we don't need to hear my, the shit that's coming through my my clouded brain when we're trying to break down our favorite band. And especially it was such an inopportune time that I decided to go on hiatus, because I announced it, and then like the next day Eric announces he's leaving the band, and I'm I'm just like, what the fuck? Just when I need to have a podcast, that was such a crucial time, I think, for all of us. And not necessarily that you need my podcast to process your own thoughts about it, but I know I like hearing other people's input and opinions and viewpoints and whatever, whenever something big like that happens. So yeah, I mean, that happened. Some of us came out, and that was, my opinions on that have evolved, and will continue to evolve, because it's still a pretty new track, and I'm still pretty, I haven't listened to it in a little while. Just been just feeling out life, and anyway, so all this to say, it's wonderful to be back. This episode it was a perfect one to come back with. My guest today is Herbert Hennessy, as he's known on Instagram. Big Gizz fan. We had this is one of the longer episodes too. Our conversation was like over an hour, and there are really no dull points. It was this is just a fun fucking conversation. A lot of different perspective brought to this episode than what I'm typically used to, and that's not to it's not to denigrate any past guests, but this guy Herbert, what a mind! I absolutely loved talking with him, and just this is just a fun. It feels really good to be back, is my point, and I just love that this was. Yeah, I'm just full of a lot of feelings, because so last night I performed stand-up comedy for the first time in 6 months. And it just sucked. I bombed the fuck out of it, but it was so, for those of you who are not comics or not familiar with stand-up comedy, there's just such an inexplicable, just such a pure, unbridled feeling, just of joy. It feels good to be back, even though I didn't get many laughs, and I forgot basically all of my punchlines. I would just be like, here's here are the premises. Interesting premises. Who knows where he's going with it? I forgot, and it sucked, but it felt so fucking good to be standing in front of a crowd of people. I don't think it was a legal show, but it was such a fun fucking place to perform, and just the fact that I was performing in person in front of people felt incredible. So I'm still riding that high, and then getting this podcast up and running again has just been another euphoric feeling. So the last 16 hours have been, I mean, just truly incredible for me. And just a real bounce back from the emotional depths I found myself in a couple weeks ago. I've got a little more housekeeping to take care of. So again, the day that I decided to go on hiatus, that's when Boogeyman Sam on Instagram released his the bootlegs. I forgot the name of it. Hang on. It's the bootleg collection. Yes, I think that's what it is. Anyway, on Instagram, if you message Boogeyman Sam, he'll send you a download to the the bootleg collection volume 1. That's what it is. So it's clips of songs, or sometimes full songs, from 15 different shows on last year's UK and Europe tour. I mean, there's just such a cool thing that he did. I would love to get him on the pod. Hopefully that can happen. So like I messaged him and I was like, hey man, let me get the download link. And he was like, absolutely. By the way, love what you're doing. Please, keep it up. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. I'll fucking plug the shit on the podcast. It's fun how many like just fan-based factions there are from King Gizzard. I don't know if I'm even using the right words. Maybe I'm not all back, but I feel great. And this, it just feels really good to be back. So enough about me and my shit. We're going to get right into this episode. Herbert Hennessy is my guest. You guys are going to love it. This was a really fun conversation, and I look forward to a whole bunch more. No more hiatuses. Here's Herbert. Yeah, I went to San Diego. I've been there a few times. They've got some great concert venues. I saw KGATLW out there.
Oh, cool.
They've got, I mean, they're just like a couple good clubs out there. Like I saw them play, I think it was the Soda Bar.
Yep.
That was pretty solid. And just like overall San Diego vibes are just really solid. Like,
yeah.
Like I did, when I was living in New York, I had to go there on a business trip, and like with a bunch of colleagues and stuff, and we were just like, why not just move the office here? That way we're all happy. And would have been sick. But anyway, man, thanks for coming on the podcast, dude.
It's really my pleasure.
Yeah, I'm glad we were finally able to make this happen. It's been like because like we were originally planning to do this a few weeks ago, and then I had my whole shit go down in Seattle. It's thanks for bearing with me and for coming on.
Man, I'm glad to. I'll talk about King Gizzard for a couple hours with pretty much anybody that I can,
Yeah, and it seems like there's kind of few and far between. Like I had to start a podcast simply because my friends were not they're starting to like question the friendship. Like it was putting a strain on it whenever I would get into guys, they came out with another album.
When your part in every conversation is, but what about King Gizzard? It can get a little bit tiresome, I guess, to some. I don't know. It's inexplicable to me, but whatever.
Yeah. We got to find the pockets of Gizz, but
that's right.
So what's your backstory? How did you first get into them?
Great question. So it was like the end of 2016, like December 30th, 2016. And I was introduced to King Gizzard and Nonagon Infinity the same day I was introduced to Fantano, if I'm being honest. his review of Nonagon Infinity showed up in my recommended on YouTube.
Nice.
And I loved it. Like the cover art immediately struck me. And of course the name was like, okay, I'll check. I got to check this out. I didn't know who Fantano was, but of course I became, a fan of that channel around the same time. But man, when I listened to Nonagon Infinity, it blew me away. And I'm the kind of guy that, especially when it comes to music, I don't believe a lot of things are the truth until I see it live.
Yeah.
And so I listened to the record and I was like, okay, that's cool, but I got to see what they're all about live. So I checked out another YouTube performance, and I'm sure it's one of the same ones that everybody else sees. It's a performance of them at some festival in France.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I just couldn't believe I just couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't believe my eyes, just the energy, just same thing as anybody else, that record just, you just feel freedom when you listen to it.
It's funny. It took me a while to actually get into Nonagon.
Interesting.
Because it was so stupid. Like in retrospect, looking back, I'm just like, you're such a moron. Because like the only song, like I would just always play Gamma Knife. Like that was my favorite song initially off that, and then the rest of the album, I was like, I mean, whatever. But it didn't. Yeah, it didn't occur to me initially that it was an infinity loop. Because like I just did a deep dive just on Spotify, no YouTube commentary or anything. And then once I listened to it a while longer, then I started getting a better understanding, and I was just like, oh yeah, no, you're an idiot. It's okay.
Hey man, things happen for a reason, right? Things happen all the time. Like it's funny how I don't know if it's people's perspective. Like I'm used to listening to albums. Like I'm an album person. So, I mean, I'm love streaming, whatever, but I love the album. And so if I'm listening to something, if something really catches me, I'm checking out the full album. And that was one album that I haven't stopped really listening to for probably 3 years now. Was that the first album that you heard of theirs, or was
no? My first was Polygondwanaland.
Cool. Okay.
And so it was like I was introduced like late 2017, a few weeks after Poly came out.
Nice.
And so I was just listening to that constantly, and then Flying Microtonal Banana was the second one that just like that's the one that really got me hooked in. Just because because it was after same thing like you. Like I listened to Polygondwanaland and I was like, okay, but are they being weird for the sake of being weird, or what is this like actually? And so I put on the Webster Hall performance in New York. They opened it with either they opened the set with Open Water, or that was one of the first songs that they played, and I was just like, oh shit, this is fucking badass. Like you could just tell the vibe through YouTube, which is so weird because like I mean like that shouldn't ever happen. Like you shouldn't ever, like a YouTube video should never ever bring you that much, like, I don't know, intrigue, I guess. Maybe they do. I don't know what I'm saying, but like it's just so weird as far as like a live performance, a musical thing.
The energy is just unparalleled. Like maybe not unparalleled. Like I know there's a lot of great live bands right now. There's a lot of great rock bands. Sort of beneath the surface of things. I'm sure we could talk about several great modern bands, live bands right now, but the energy that they exude in their live shows, it just transfers. Even on a video, even if you're just watching it from afar or just checking it out, there's just that energy, that lightning strike of energy is just always there. I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, it totally is. And like, what's interesting, like I'm trying to think, like, what is it? Like, how can you even tell that there is energy? And then I'm just, first thing came to my mind is like, they're constantly looking at each other and just like, and at the same time also just kind of fucking off and doing their own thing. And it's like, they're all in to have a good time and like to include everybody watching. Like that's just such a cool dynamic to me.
I agree with you 100%. I feel really lucky or I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but whenever I am exposed to their outward face, I never see ego. I never see attitude. I never see, you know, like the vibes that you get, you could just tell when band members are fighting with each other, and it happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
And maybe I just don't know what it is about their external vibe or their approachability as just peoples, or their just their general laid back chillness as like characters or persona. But you just never feel ego. You feel 100% excitement. You feel unbridled joy.
Yeah.
And that translates to me, man. That
You,
translates.
I mean, I think a lot of it is just the difference between American and Australian culture.
Okay.
I mean that's something that I picked up on with them, like and just in meeting other Australian tourists in the States, like
Yeah.
I've never met a single asshole from from Australia. Like they're all like very egoless and just generally pretty cool
Yeah.
and chill, and like they're just about hanging out and stuff. And like maybe it is simply just that like America has lost its way just that much that we're like, yeah, they love each other. Isn't that amazing? Like it's like they're all about love and just like having a good time. What?
Yeah.
What? That's a what?
That's a
Like
concept. Yeah.
I mean like that's, you can't find that at Walmart. Like just
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. Like I know what you're talking about. I live like I'm Canadian, and in some ways I think that Canadians and Australians are sort of conditioned in the same way, where we're taught to be good ambassadors when
yeah.
we're
Oh,
elsewhere.
100%.
I got to tell you that what though, man. I lived in the States for like 4 years. I lived in Nashville for 4 years, and maybe it was a different era. Maybe it was a different time. But I loved living in the States, man. I felt a lot of love living in the States. And, I feel like a good person. I feel like a person who gives love gets love, you know?
For sure.
And I know we could all use a lot more of that these days. That's for real.
Yeah, definitely. And just to clear the air and just for the record, I'm not saying America is a complete shit culture. I'm just saying that it's shitty compared to the rest of the industrialized world. Like
it's in the crosshairs of culture right now. That's for
yeah,
sure.
I mean, like because basically right now we're in the midst of a major cultural civil war, and it's I mean, and like it's really tough to say exactly what it is, even until like a few years from now when we can look back on it. But
sure.
Anyway, before we digress into some
hey man,
some Think PC episode, let's let's get back to the Gizz.
Sure.
So a lot has happened since like the podcast went on hiatus. I'm just like, fuck, seriously? I have I'm about to snap and then Eric leaves. What the shit? Like
pretty jarring news. Pretty jarring news.
Yeah.
It's tough for me because, you get a headline like something's changed in your favorite band, and like, man, I'll be honest. I'm used to those headlines being somebody died.
Yeah.
And so for Eric to still be still be part of things, to be running the label as the label's grown, it's jarring and it'll be different. I mean, I look around and then I see this guy, Cabs, and I go, okay, well, all right, like moving on. Like, much respect, Eric, much love. Thank you. Thank you for the past. Thank you for the future. Flightless is, I mean, I'm obviously biased, but Flightless is the greatest indie label I can think of right now.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely up there.
Yeah. It's one of them for sure. So I know it'll be different. It's always different when a bit of the chemistry leaves, but I look at it like that old band Bad Religion, where it's like Brett Gurewitz, he ran the label, he runs Epitaph, or that's some aspect of it now, but that's his label. He left for a lot of reasons, but he took he's still part of the band. My hope is that Eric is running the label, taking care of business, and selfishly, I hope he shows up at Red Rocks.
The thing is, like, I don't see how he wouldn't show up at Red Rocks. Like, that is such a legendary place to play.
Yeah.
I mean, like I went there for like just visiting with my family. Went there in 2015, cool. Just during the day, and like we brought my guitar so I could get my picture taken on stage playing the rocks, since you could do that. And
that's amazing.
Oh, it was so cool. And it's just like, there's no way he's not going to at least show up and sit off on the side, but come on, they're going to set it second kit. It has to happen. Like, just one last hurrah. Like, you think Eric is just like, guys, I guess I'm just done playing shows forever. Like, no way.
I'm with you. Obviously there's a business acumen there. There's a huge entrepreneurial spirit there. Mm-hmm. The guy's a musician. And that's in the blood. So I think we'll see it again. But man, I'm just looking forward to some new music,
Dude, me too. I mean, like, well, so speaking of that, they've released, Honey, and then Some of Us. I actually haven't listened to Some of Us in a couple weeks.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give it some time to come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's been your take on it?
Well, the vibe of the videos, those two videos really reflect 2020 to me right now. Just in their own different ways. I like the songs. Neither of them blew me off my chair, but that's okay. I did enjoy them, and the sound of both of them makes me think that we're in for another microtonal album, which, hey, I'll take that all day long. I'll take another microtonal album. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Actually, the I know what you're saying with, like, not being blown away by him, but like the thing is, they both grew on me immensely a few days after listening to them for the first time. Just because, like, I looked at the lyrics, and also Some of Us is a Cookie wrote the lyrics to that. And which it's too bad that he's not singing on it, but like, I absolutely love his lyricism. It's just such it's like, dark but also silly. I truly believe he's an amazing comedy writer.
I've never heard it put like that, but I'll agree with that. Yeah, he's got a great perspective. His sense of musicality is really cool. I think his voice is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what about the rest of it, but I think it's a great song. I think it's a great Pipe-Eye song. I think it's a great Cookie song, and I think it's a great King Gizzard song. I spent the last year listening to Infest the Rat's Nest. Like, I'm going into, like, physiotherapy for my neck from listening to Infest the Rat's Nest for the last year. So, if it doesn't, if it's not blowing my head off, it's okay. They're good songs. They're well written. Honey's got a nice, sweet vibe to it, man. You got to appreciate that.
I mean, it's a great love song. It's just, like, simple. It's sort of ominous because of the music video, I guess. But it's also got a very sort of fishing for fishies type of feel to it.
So it'll fit in. It definitely fits. I'm looking forward to waking up tomorrow and hearing some new music. Hopefully there's a album announcement with it.
Yeah, that's right. They posted that thing 31 hours last night. Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I who knows what it is, but I mean, that was a picture of, I was pretty stoned when I saw it. That was a picture of Ambrose, right? So Ambrose is getting a new song. I'm in.
Yeah. I just, I can't help but just every time I look at Ambrose, I just can't help but smile. It's just got that, that personality, that persona is just so infectious, you'd like to hang out with each of those guys for separate reasons, but he just seems like such a clown isn't the right word, but he's such a joker. He's got such a sense of humor.
I mean, he and Joey play off each other in that regard so well. Like they're very different from each other, but at the same time, it's like it. I mean, like we know they play in King Gizzard. Like they're fucking they mesh. They're all so diverse, and it just comes together, and it's beautiful.
Joey really reminds me of like a Pete Townsend, maybe like as far as his character, like kind of like a heel wrestler a little bit.
Yeah.
And I like that about Joey a lot, actually.
Yeah. I mean, he seemed like, from just aesthetics alone, he seems to be like the most straight edge, you would think, like the most straight looking, corporate kind of guy. And then no, he's like, he might actually be the wackiest, and arguably most soulful out of all of them. I mean, he's got some amazingly deep lyrics. I mean, Superposition just blew my mind. Worked this time. I mean,
man. Tezita. Like, let's give it up. Joey's a incredibly accomplished musician. They all, I mean, come on, they all are, right?
Yeah.
His perspective in sort of African jazz, and the way he approaches music is just very cool. It's a great compliment to the whole Hydra. Like they all kind of do their thing. They all kind of bring their own energy. But I think he's the best troll. I think he's the best troll of the group.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a constant ball buster. And not to mention, like, whenever they play Gamma Knife live, like, and he's doing the gammas in the background, it's not anything like the album. It's it's like Gamma, like it's just so much. Like he uses all aspects of his voice, like the throat singing, which, by the way, I was listening to Joe Rogan, which might be the least surprising statement I've ever made, but like I was listening to Rogan last week, and he can fucking do the throat singing.
No kidding.
He's got it down, and he has no clue of what he's doing. Even it's so good. Like he's talking, like he was just talking about like, I guess like that Mongolian throat singing as a thing that he's roughly familiar with, and then he's fucking doing it.
Then he just does it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, dude,
that guy's
where is this in the rest of your rest of what you do?
Killer leg kicks, killer striking, killer throat singing.
I mean, killer sponsorships with all these snake oil things. I mean, like it's. I'm sure a lot of the stuff works, but like it's. I mean, the guy's so fascinating, and then it seems like he leaves so many more interesting stones unturned. He's a funny dude. He's just such a goof. But
intellect out the door too. Like I wouldn't want to be in an argument with that guy in any way, intellectual or physical. He's a razor, man. He's a razor.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it would be fun. I'm enough of a contrarian that I could just fuck his world up. Like I
love it. Now you got to be able, if you want to have a reasonable conversation with anybody these days, you've got to be able to argue from another point of view. Argue's not the right word. You've got to be able to conversate from another point of view.
Yeah.
You have to be able to understand at least a conversational level in order to be able to have a reasonable discussion with someone. So I appreciate that 100%.
Yep. I mean, like it's a matter of just like, you could call it playing devil's advocate if you want to be like extremely binary about it, but like, you could also just like be like, or this is another possibility, which is like, that's just how I think anyway. Cause I'm just like, I'm some fucking guy. I don't know the answers. It could be anything. So, I love entertaining other points of view and shit.
Yeah, I think especially now it's important because we're so ingrained with the sense of tribalism. We're so ingrained, especially right now. And
right now it's really come to the surface how prevalent that is.
Yeah, it truly is. I hold out a lot of hope that the next era of our collective growth is going to be one of unity. I guess we've got to get through this part in order to sort of find that thing that unifies us all. but I'm looking forward to that. But I appreciate having a challenging conversation with anybody, man.
But
it's a gift.
Absolutely. And, come to think of it, with Eric's departure and everything, and the, impending new wave of Gizz fans that are going to come in with the next 3 albums that are coming out this year and next.
Let's go.
They,
ready, man.
I mean, so they're going to be coming into this with Cavs as the only drummer. And then there's going to be all of us, and the people before me and before you even. We're just like, we were there in the beginning. And we're going to turn into a bunch of toxic snobs. I'm reading this book, or like I've been reading this book for like a year and I still haven't finished it, even though it's not that long. But it's called Everything I Know About Business That I Learned from the Grateful Dead.
Cool. Okay.
It's a really awesome book. And one of the things that I was just reading from it was about like how, I guess it was in 1987 when Touch of Grey came out. That was kind of their real first foray into the commercial success, and then like a whole new swath of fans came in, and they were met with a lot of apprehension from the OGs, and the band had to send out a memo being like, "Hey guys, this is not what we're about. Like we're trying to spread the message. We gotta come together and just welcome these people in. This is
absolutely
what we're about."
I actually part of me thinks that Infest the Rat's Nest I think that did bring in a huge swath of new fans.
Oh yeah. A lot of people on this podcast.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool. And I think about it as well. Like I think about coming in as someone who heard Nonagon Infinity first and being like. And when I heard Mind Fuzz and being like, oh, they already put out a killer album. Or it's the same thing with, people who came in quarters, or people who've been down since 2012, or like in the real OG era. I guess I can identify in past eras of my life as being one of those music snobs, being a gatekeeper, wanting to protect something that was special to me. I think King Gizzard is the first time I've ever wanted them to have more fans. I want people to know who King Gizzard is. And because I appreciate the feeling of having that conversation with someone, of being like, and it's finally starting to happen to me where it's like, oh, you listen to, like I'll be wearing a King Gizzard walking down, or like a Gizz shirt walking down the street, and someone will be like, I see you, man. I see you. And it's a good feeling,
It's a great feeling. And you're never going to get that with like a Metallica t-shirt.
You are not.
Well, it also, what blows my fucking mind is how like Iron Maiden t-shirts in the last couple of years have just become a fashion statement.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, because clearly like a lot of these people, they won't know the Trooper if I start being like, da 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 da. You know it? Like,
yeah. Well, it's not a new phenomenon that a concert shirt is worn to project an attitude, not anything else, right? So,
even if the attitude has nothing to do with the music.
For sure. Yeah. The word, the word poser's been around for several decades, and that's fine.
It never gets old though. I honestly, I love that term because it is pretty ambiguous. Because like it's because it's at some point we're all posing in a way like I didn't come up with the idea of podcasts. Like they're out there.
Sure.
I was influenced, and here I am mimiking with my own bent. And,
but you're doing it, right? You're doing
exactly.
It, and that's the difference, right? Yeah. There's a difference between talking about it, and there's a difference between doing it. So.
Yeah. Well, and then like I've I play guitar too, and I've been just playing nothing but Gizz songs. I've just been. I know so many others too. Like I was just thinking last night, like fuck, it's been a while since I've played in the Alice in Chains. But like
great fucking band.
Oh my god, those harmonies.
Chilling.
Yeah. I just listened to Jar of Flies last night on the drive back from LA. It was great. Goosebumps album.
Yeah. Cantrell the whole band, but Cantrell as a guitar player, as a singer, Man, my little brother is into Alice in Chains, and I'm not really familiar with a lot of their newer body of work. But my younger brother, who's kind of is a big Alice in Chains fan, just swears by the new stuff. He just says the new stuff is incredible, and I've heard a little bit of it, and I do agree with it. It's cool. I don't have the same emotional attachment to it as I would other albums, but hey, I'm glad to see him continuing on. It's like Sepultura. Like Sepultura isn't really Sepultura to me anymore, but just because of my connection to the Cavaleras, to that era. But hey, don't want to begrudge anybody their chance to earn a living and to kick ass doing it. So good on them.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's not like the old music's going anywhere. Like you could still play it. Correct. Just, let the guys have fun in their 50s. Like it's,
totally.
Yeah. Like, I mean, so like I sort of had the same phase. Cause like like obviously I much prefer Lane Staley era, Alice in Chains, but like,
sure.
William Duvall is a good singer. Yeah. He brings something new. And even though it's pretty obvious that Jerry Cantrell has basically taken over the creative control of the band, it's still something that's good and it's different. It's way heavier than the old stuff. But why not rock harder the older you get?
Totally. And good on you for paying respect to the new singer. I didn't know his name.
Oh,
real being real. I didn't know his name. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was. Because like they used to be, my favorite band at one point, and I saw an interview with William Duvall, and I was just like, oh wait, no, this guy's like totally egoless. That's probably why they chose him, because like here's a guy who's not even going to try to replicate Lane Staley's voice simply because he knows it's not him, and nor should he try if it's not him. Like it's.
Yeah, some mountains should be left unclimbed.
Yep.
Particularly that, like someone like Lane Staley. Yeah, if you're in the position of having to fill those shoes, I just think he's doing well by himself and by everybody else by wearing his own shoes and cutting in his own leather.
I mean, talking about different iterations of being a poser. I mean, this.
We've great. All been there, man. Myself included. I watched a great video review by video game personality named Tim Rogers about Doom. He just released it. This guy is, I really like his style, but he talked about being a Doom poser for 20 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And like,
what does that even mean? I'm not a gamer at all.
I don't know what it means either. I've never played Doom. So I just like watching his video game reviews. He's got a very conversational style. He's quite dry, quite funny.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I won't even front. I've never even played Doom, right?
Yeah.
But I guess is talking about like having enough working conversational knowledge of something to hold a conversation, but having no fucking idea really what, like, let's not go to the second layer because I'm not ready to talk about that. I think that's what he was referring to, but we've all been there, myself included. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So back to Gizz.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of what else has gone on, so I mean, like obviously with the like they just re-released a whole bunch of posters from the last year's tour. What's your stance on posters?
Well, as a Polygondwanaland collector and someone who's gone through insane depths to amass a Polygondwanaland collection with full knowledge that most of those records have no resale value, like they flooded the market with polys, and I bit like a trout, man, on a whole bunch of them. I can appreciate the value. I think that the posters are more valuable from a collector's perspective because of the rarity. Even with the represses, I just think that the rarity of them, they're handmade. Jason Galea obviously is a genius. So and I think it's great. I think it's a great touch for the fans. I just think they always know how to just drop something at a good time, at an appropriate time, where people will want to express their appreciation by paying for it. I'm exactly the same way. Like, I'm waiting for a new album to drop so I can buy all of the variants. You know, that's so as someone who's kind of like a variant collector, particularly of King Gizzard records, I can appreciate the appeal.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely
more so.
Yeah, I mean, I love everything about the posters from the artistic perspective, and I appreciate it from a collector's perspective as well, because like I am a collector of a few things, like mainly like my thing growing up was getting baseball cards autographed by by major league players, and like that was my biggest hobby. And that shit's fun, but like after a while, like you collect so many, and it's just like I can't display even a tenth of my collection. Like it's just too massive, and and all of a sudden it becomes a burden. And like
I feel 100%. I know that feeling 100%. I know that feeling 100% with my poly collection. Where at some point you're like, you put your hands up and you're like, I've collected enough versions of this particular album, or I've collected enough baseball cards. And they'll always have a sentimental value. Maybe some of them will have a monetary value at some point. The journey was fun. I'm sure the collection journey means a lot to you, and it's the story of the collection means more to me, or means as much to me now as being able to hold one of these variants and to put it on my record player and to check out the album art and to sort of appreciate the album. Like Nonagon Infinity is probably my favorite King Gizzard record, or is my favorite rock record, I'll say. But Polygondwanaland is my favorite King Gizzard record. And so I never get tired of that. And it's the memories. I'm sure it's the same with you with baseball cards. It's the memory of the collection, of the connection that you made with somebody, of the story of getting it, you know.
Absolutely.
Means as much as holding it.
Yeah, I can point to like almost any baseball card that I have autographed. Like you can point to it and I can tell you exactly where I got it signed, and it's it's just like a binder full of little vignettes with baseball players, and it's such a weird thing, but but yeah, it's fun. It's a connection. So with the poly, I'm curious, what's your favorite pressing?
Oh man. Well,
is there one that sounds particularly superior to the rest?
There's a few of them that sound really good that are half mastered. I kind of divide my poly collection into a few different top fives or whatever.
Okay.
So my top 5 favorite sort of overall packages, let's see if I could remember it. Obviously Flightless, because of the Galea artwork, the sort of completion of that vision is up there. There's a Fuzz Club variant out of the UK that has a beautiful black and white picture book. I just think is so classy.
That's one I have.
Yeah, nice.
Love
and
that
that's
one.
I believe that's above. I believe that's among the better sounding albums because it was half mastered.
Yeah, so that's what it was, because it was half mastered and not.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know what mastering even is, really. Like.
Oh, okay. So mastering is a way of putting of normalizing an album so that it all is presentable at the same sort of EQ and volume. So you got a collection of 15 songs or whatever the case is. It's all of those collection of songs are mastered with a uniform sort of EQ and a uniform volumes, and so that it sounds like the same album.
Okay, yeah.
That's pretty, maybe I'm sure that there's a technical guy in here that's going to call me a studio poser.
No, but but for breaking it down to somebody who just doesn't know the technicality, I think that's a great explanation. Makes sense.
So the Fuzz Club one is definitely a good one. Vinyl Moon put out a really beautiful one with a hologram, crocodile hologram on the vinyl. Which is really cool. Yeah, Blood Music put out a really cool one, which it has really cool, like, welcome to Polygondwanaland artwork. And the Newberry Comics, man, the Newberry Comics version. I think it was a Pirates Press, but that's a beautiful double album. Really, really just gorgeous. And then there's like other ones that are like, you know, I've got, so as far as like total packages, I would say that those would be the ones.
Nice.
Yeah, as I think along, I can just, you know, I'm the same way with you in baseball cards. I remember, you know, getting, you know, I remember trading one for another, or, you know, I remember picking up, you know, I remember the conversations I had with Analog Love. I believe they're out of Spain. I could be wrong on that, but they put out this really cool variant with like the skull on the cover. It's just, it's part of the artwork, but it just has a very different look to it. And I remember being very untrusting of the postal service because it took forever to get to me, but the guys ended up being super cool. I ended up getting the record. It ended up coming in perfect condition, and it ended up being a really cool variant, you know. And it's just like little stories like that that I appreciate as much as holding it in my hand.
Yeah, definitely. Did you manage to get one of those 8-bit Polygondwanalands?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from 5.7.
yeah, very cool. I didn't get the first pressing, the gray pressing.
Oh yeah.
I slept on it, to be honest. I saw it and was like, you know what? I'll pick this up tomorrow. And that was when I learned you don't wait till tomorrow with
Yeah,
King Gizzard fans.
You can't.
You better wake your ass up and get going.
The secondary market is a little too strong to wait, which is
sharks.
I mean, it's frustrating. I mean, like I know a lot about secondary markets, just, you know, in dealing with baseball cards. Yeah, exactly.
Sure,
it's you know, that shit can get like competitive, and but yeah, I so like I didn't get the gray pressing either. I got the you know, clear yellow, and which still sounds great.
Yeah, it's cool. I'll be honest, I never even listened to it. Yeah, I never even listened to that. I put the, you know, there are polys that I've listened to and that are my play versions. There are polys that I have that I will play once and then put away, you know, and then there are some that I just preferred. I just bought them and am at peace with the fact that it'll probably never see a needle. Not for a long time anyway.
Yeah. You know, that actually might be kind of a fun thing, sort of like you know, like a time capsule of Polygondwanaland. Actually, I guess you kind of just do have a time capsule of Polygondwanaland records. Like whenever the ones you play most get worn out, you always got a fresh press and ready to go.
Yeah, and I've got one that can go into the picture frame on the wall or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a bunch of those, that's for sure. But I mean, you know, if I put on one of my players, like my ATO, like I don't have the greatest setup in the world. My ATO Polygondwanaland probably gets the most plays. I love the artwork on the background cover. Great, you know, I love the poster inside of it. But that's something where I'll just sit down with a glass of whatever, have a couple of puffskis and just start looking at my record collection, start looking at my polys, you know.
That's fucking cool, man. I love that. So you must have been pretty psyched when in last year's tour when they started playing Intercell, Horology, and Loyalty.
Yeah, I you know, and it's I've seen them 3 times. I saw them twice in 2017 and I saw them once in 2018. Every time in Vancouver.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cool city, beautiful city, and each of the times I saw them, the last time I saw them was out in an outdoor arena at a park, and it was all misty and rainy, you know, like the Pacific Coast is.
Yep.
And what a, you know, an Emil and the Sniffers opened up. It was bonkers. It was such a great show. But
oh God, I love them.
Yeah,
that tour was great.
They're so cool. But I forget why. The reason obviously wasn't good enough, but I decided to pass up on 2019 going to see them, and didn't really think much about it until everything started going down with this pandemic and whatnot, and, you know, shows basically going off the radar, cinema going off the radar.
Yeah.
But when I listened to Chunky Shrapnel, and well, especially watched the movie for the first time, that's one of my favorite parts of that whole experience, of the whole Chunky Shrapnel experience, is listening to the Intercell trilogy or suite or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Did you watch the film?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
I binged it.
Right in.
Yeah. I watched it 4 times. in the time that it was available the
Mm-hmm.
first go around, and then I just like when they re-released it the next week, and I was like, I've seen it 4 times, but
Yep. Yeah, I was the same way. I had that 24 hours and I made the absolute most of it.
mm-hmm.
Loved it. Loved the movie. Thought it was super cool. Thought it was a really well done tour movie because they didn't say an awful lot, you know.
No, it was very much like a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
And I mean, just that opening scene where, you know, they're getting, you know, Evil starts playing on stage and you see them just backstage or they're fucking nervous and like they're, you know, they're getting loose, and it's just like, oh fuck, we're in the band. Like, this is what it's like. And oh my God, like, yeah, I was basically going into like an out of body experience, just like I would if I were to take the stage in front of tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. It was just such an experience.
Well, you can just imagine, and you almost feel it in that movie, like the feeling of, holy shit, like it wasn't that long ago that we were playing for 50 people. Or, you know, we would go on the road and you could shoot a cannon through the club and nobody would get hurt, right? And now all of a sudden there are thousands of people absolutely going ape shit waiting for us to get going. And when we get going, the roof, this place is going to be relieved of its roof. What a cool feeling that must be, man.
You ever wonder if like that's why they keep putting out so many albums? Because they're just like, wait, we put out another album, we're going to get even more fans, put a new one out, more. Like they might just be addicted to growing their fan base. That like I'm seriously wondering.
You know, they do a good job of it. If they released bad albums, I would start to think more along those lines. Yeah. But like, you know, full honesty, I think my real appreciation of them starts as like the band I know them as right now starts about Mind Fuzz, right? The reissue, like the early era, you know, I could take it or leave it, you know, if I'm being honest. But
hot take.
Yeah. You know, if I'm being honest, it's just not, you know, like Mind Fuzz is where I think they did something really bonkers. And I'm sure other people would disagree with me and say, no, they did bonkers shit all from the beginning, and maybe they're right, you know.
I mean, well, no, they definitely. I mean, King Gizzard has never not done bonkers shit. Like,
they've always done bonkers shit, and that's the thing. Like, if they released something that was mediocre, it would be like, okay, well, maybe you guys can slow down. Maybe you guys, you know, you don't have to be so aggressive if it's, you know, if it's just for building a fan base. But they keep releasing bonkers shit. They keep releasing great album, or at least, you know, very good album, great album, and I'll take it, man. I'll take it all day long.
Yeah. Well, you know, so, I mean, because like I'm just thinking if like Eyes Like the Sky might be the most ballsy shit that they've ever done.
Absolutely. Second album, no question.
I mean, it's like I want to hear another sort of surfy album like that from them.
Yeah.
Because like that's just a sound that I think has been missing from music for way too long. Sure, you've got the Alalas, and they're a great studio band. I've seen them a few times live, and it's just never been that great. Which is, you know, sorry. I like them, but it's like, you know, wait, what, are you bummed to be here? What's going on?
You've hit on something really important when it comes to a live audience, or when it comes to a live performance. Is there's something to be said for a studio performance where you can hide your feelings, or you can channel your feelings onto a track. When you're in a vulnerable position in front of 500 people, you're there cultivating energy.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the cultivation of that energy is planting the seed. And I think that's something that the Gizz does really well, is they plant the seed of, holy fuck, we're excited to be here, and holy shit, you're going to be excited to be here too.
Yeah.
It's infectious, you know, and they do a good job of building that energy up. That's for sure. In fact, one of my favorite things about seeing them live for the first time was seeing how Stu very calmly brought the energy down for what I only assume is the safety of everybody involved. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, like, I forget what song it was. Maybe it was Evil Death Roll or something like that, where he brought it down. And you could just tell that the crowd, I mean, again, you feel the energy, right? You feel that vibe. But you could, it was bonkers. And,
I mean, because they don't play Evil Death Roll that often live. No. So like, I mean, like I saw him play it live last year in New York, and yeah, everybody just went fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, immediately you gotta bring it down. Just
something's gonna happen here.
Yep, heat stroke.
Something's gonna happen here, and I think Stu's very masterful at that. Like he's obviously the first thing I think of when I think of Stu live is energy, right? I'm not, he's in a rare class of performer and sort of performer and energy creator and capturer. But the ability to bring that crowd down without bumming them out, just to put the lid on it so nobody gets hurt for a second, is a really cool thing. And he's definitely great at that too.
Yeah. Wait, so what did he do to bring it down a little bit? Like, was it just by the next song that they played, or was it just
dynamics, sheer dynamics? So, I mean, the way, especially when the heavier stuff comes out, like the pits, I mean, it's, how it is. And, like I'm past that stage in my life. I'll be in front of the soundboard chilling, but it's fun to watch still,
Yeah.
But he just brought it down, physically, just bringing it down, dynamics, volume, and just and it just seemed to me at that point, as someone, who likes going to see shows, he handled what could always be a painful experience for someone. He brought it to a place where people were able to catch a breath for a minute. And as much as turning people up to 11, bringing them back down to 6.5 for a second is a pretty cool gift.
Oh, totally. I mean, and especially like when they go from like playing something really heavy and then going into something like, Let Me Mend the Past or Work This Time, just or the Wheel. Like there are so many really mellow songs that transition so perfectly from the the evil death rolls of their discography.
Right. And you can go in and do a little bit of Hot Water, a little flute interlude. And again, one of the things that really impressed me the first time I saw them, without knowing a whole lot of their back catalog, was recognizing how they were going back and forth between different songs, and then recognizing different songs, as they went through, and just not stopping. I just thought they were so great. I always want to mention the band when I think of King Gizzard, like 2 drummers, incredible musicians. I'm not, I'm sure the band wasn't pulling people off the rafters with, the weight or whatever, but the band, I mean, those guys are motherfuckers, man. Maybe one of the greatest rock bands of all time. And when I think of King Gizzard, I put them in that light with the band.
Yeah, I think that's that's not a take I was expecting to hear, but I agree. I think it's because like The Last Waltz was a good documentary.
It was a great documentary. And it was a great movie documentary.
Yeah.
And if you put those two together, if you put The Last Waltz and Chunky Shrapnel together, in a lot of ways they're very similar, right? There's a lot of great performances. There's a lot of great energetic performances. But you see the band, whenever the band is talking, it's not scripted. Like, it's not like they're sitting there on a sound stage with a host, or maybe there was a little bit of that in The Last Waltz. But for the most part, you're seeing guys in their element,
Yeah.
You're seeing guys bored out of their minds, waiting to play the show. Just waiting to get on with the 2 hours of their life that fulfills the day, and then getting back to the actual work, which is, driving around, doing sound check, tearing up, setting, putting your gear together and stuff like that.
I mean, it's a grind, and just travel alone. Like I've only, like I just turned 30, and like travel has hit me in a new way, where like it takes so much out of me. Like I was basically in just like still experiencing highway hypnosis, like a day and a half after I was done driving down the coast.
Man, I spent my 20s on the road and touring in different bands, and I lived. That's why I lived in the States. That's why I lived in Tennessee.
Yeah. I mean, Nashville's perfect for that.
Nashville is a wonderful city. I mean, everybody there is a musician, so you better come correct.
I've only been there once. I stopped by one night on a road trip, and I had my mandolin with me, so I went to the jam at the Bluebird. It was just like I was just like,
that's a classic Nashville story.
Yeah.
That's
I was there for like maybe 12 hours and I had the experience. It was
yeah. But you mentioned it, like that endless highway, the highway hypnosis, or like it hits you differently when you're and you've reached that particular milestone, which I can definitely identify with. But like you're in your 20s on the road, and it's like you're in a new town every day, and it's like, you drive into town like an outlaw, right? Like, like, give us your fucking money, and then we're going, and we're off to the next town. And then, you develop that camaraderie with guys. You develop that brotherhood with people that you're on the road with.
Yeah.
And you don't mind sleeping on couches, and you don't mind living on other people's generosity. And then, you hit 30, and it's like, holy shit, man, I gotta reassess, or I gotta reprioritize, or I gotta change my tack here, because I don't like sleeping on floors.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Yeah, like my cousin's a touring musician in nice. Toronto, actually, and
cool.
Yeah, so like you said Canada, I was like, fuck yeah, we're in for a good app. But
may I ask, or maybe you can tell me after who your cousin is?
Yeah. No. My cousin's Jesse Whiteley. He's a keyboardist, multi-instrumentalist, but keyboard, Hammond B3 organs is baby.
Cool.
And he's a blues musician and also plays in the Toronto All-Star big band.
Cool.
So he was playing.
Canada's no joke either.
No.
Like touring the States is no joke, but touring Canada, man. Have you ever seen the movie Hardcore Logo?
No.
It's a movie, I think, from the 90s, maybe. It's a classic Canadian movie about a punk rock band that does a reunion tour, and they tour Western Canada. And,
shit.
It's wild. I recommend it. Hardcore Logo. I recommend it to anybody who's into music and touring movies. Yeah, Hardcore Logo.
I'm definitely going to check that out. That sounds so cool. But yeah, I mean, so when my cousin was, when he was touring with his band, this was like 4 years ago, but I was living in New York at the time, and there were 5 people in the band. So two of them got a hotel, and then I put up the other 3 of them just on my hardwood floor in my fucking tiny Brooklyn apartment.
Nice.
And we had to lug a stand-up upright double bass up the stairs because the elevator didn't work, and there was 5, and I lived on the 5th floor. So we're just like bringing all the gear from the van up into the apartment so it doesn't get stolen. And it was, I mean, like I did not care that they weren't paying me to house them. I was helping them with gear. I was just like, I fucking love being a roadie, one night. Like
one night is great,
Yeah,
it's great. It's not great 14 nights in when you have to drive the next night, and you're sweaty and you stink, and the van is wet and you're wet, and
oh god, they reeked. It was I mean, that's the one thing I was like, I'm not a huge fan of your guys' hygiene, but
you got to keep that on point. You got to keep that on point on the road.
Yeah, definitely. You got to develop a system. Flying J's your best friend. They've got some good showers.
Absolutely.
Oh man, well I think we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. But before I let you go, is there anything that you've been thinking about Gizz related that we have not touched on yet?
Well, we talked about expectation of the new record. We like the new songs. I hope the next album is. I kind of have a feeling it'll be microtonal. I hope so.
And even it might even be a mix,
it might be,
because they did that on Sketches. There were a couple songs with microtonals, and
absolutely Gumboot Soup. I think has 1 or 2.
They got at least 2.
Yeah. I'm not sure we can expect some overarching theme. I kind of have a feeling like this will be more of a Gumboot Soup sort of collection of songs, and I'm okay with that. Gumboot Soup always kind of hovers in. I want to know this. What's your top 5 King Gizzard?
Oh, that's that. I mean,
today. What's your top 5 today?
Okay. I mean, Sketches is on there, and this is in no particular order. We're just going like what comes to mind, what feels right.
Yeah.
For Sketches, today. Poly, Nonagon. Yeah, I would have to put Mind Fuzz in there.
Yeah,
And probably Gumboot. There's songs in on that album that I always come back to, and I mean, it's, even though it's not one of those, free flowing albums, like they don't quite segue into each other, like, like the more thematic albums. It's, I mean, it just goes to show that they're not a pure concept band.
Totally.
And I love
prolific songwriters, particularly Stu. I mean, I know Ambrose is. I know they're always writing. Cookie, Joe. I know they're all writing. Prolific songwriters, so prolific that they can have these giant overarching concept records. But at the same time, like I just remember that feeling of Gumboot Soup on December 31st, and just being like, I can't fucking believe it, my boys, they did it. They did it.
You know, my favorite part of that whole like December 30th, 31st time frame was just how the first single that they released off that was The Last Oasis, and you never heard about it again. Like it
it was just like, here it is, we'll just give you something. I they released a couple of those, and I was just thinking, okay, well, they're not going to put out a full record, they're just going to give us some singles. That's cool. Damn, 4 albums in 1 year. And they're good albums too. They're good albums. And then Gumboot dropped. I just remember just sitting there again with a couple of puff skis and a couple of sips, and just being like, damn, I'm so happy for these guys. Like, I can't believe it. Like, it was I just feel like all the fan base shared that milestone. In a really cool way.
Yeah, I'd only been a fan for about a month at that point. So it was still sort of lost on me, the whole scope of King Gizz. And I mean, like, because that was before I discovered the fan page or anything like that, and it was
cool.
I mean, it was just such a it was an interesting experience, because like I listened to Gumboot, I was like, this is all right. I didn't care for Beginner's Luck initially, because at that time I also didn't care for Sketches. I had yet to really enter my actual jazz taste, and it didn't really resonate that strongly with me. But I was like, there's still some good songs. Obviously, Muddy Water stuck out, but then it wasn't until I was dating somebody, and like, we love to take mushrooms together, and then one night she decided to, she's like, hey, I'm going to trip on my own. And, the next day she was telling me about how she just tripped and listened to Gumboot and just developed such an attachment that I was like, okay, I need to revisit this, because like I value the fuck out of her opinion. And it was just such a cool, just having that being my sort of like real open, I guess, awakening into Gumboot was just It was just such a rewarding experience. Or like it just filled me full of like love and shit. It was.
That's how I feel with Quarters. Like not so much of an attach, or a connection with another person, but listening to it after like seriously needing neck surgery from rocking out so hard to Nonagon Infinity. When I heard Quarters, I was like, what the fuck, man? These guys are. Man, these guys are on another level. And, I'm always reminded of it with Sketches, with Gumboot, which is everything, every new look they give. And like Infest the Rat, I haven't stopped listening to Infest the Rat's Nest for a calendar year.
Yeah, that actually was my most listened to album last year, even though I only had like 3.5 months to listen to to it. Like I was just listening nonstop. Especially the B-side was just such an interesting journey.
Oh man, side A is so cool. Like it tells such a cool story, but like you put on side, like I literally feel like I'm crashing to Venus on a spaceship when I'm listening to side B of that record. Like it's so good. someone on Instagram said that just on one of her stories that Venusian 2 to the Last Minute of Hell is like the best drug around, and I can't help but agree, man. Like that's kind of where I start the record is Venusian 2. I think that's my favorite song from that record, but that whole record just kills me.
I'm honestly partial to Venusian 1. I just think that like that just it never won't bend my mind, like just the intro, because just like, wait, you're doing too much stuff, there's too much going on here, how are you going to bring this back? And then it's like, oh, by the way, here it is again. It's a fucking cohesive song. Don't be so quick to judge.
Album. Yeah,
I mean, oh god, it's just
such a great album, such a great metal album. Like
and just like the delay effect on a metal album, that's something I'd never heard before, and I was just like, this is so needed. Like, you know, whereas all like the Shadows Fall of the World and Mudvayne, like they're doing all the pinch harmonics and shit. You're just like, fuck that, we're just gonna go like
totally
with the delay. It's like
they really bridged it. I hear you 100%. Like I really feel with that album, they really bridged a very important they really created a very important bridge in metal music where it's like very much a thrash album, very much a thrash album, and very much a honest, well-performed, intense, high-energy thrash record. But it has the simplicity of a punk record, but a good punk record. And like whenever I hear that delay, I always think of East Bay Ray from the Dead Kennedys. And it's funny when I listen to a lot of King Gizzard music, and I hear a little bit of Dead Kennedys in that delay. Whenever I listen to the Murder of the Universe, I hear, I don't know if you've ever heard of No Means No, but they're like a legendary Canadian punk band.
No, I haven't. I'm going to checking them out.
Highly technical Canadian punk band. Probably, I mean, if you want to talk about Canadian punk bands, or at least like Western Canadian, there's SNFU. Of course, they moved to California, but they're an Edmonton band. No Means No, The Smalls, they're more of a metal band, but I mean, King Gizzard, they put out one hell of a punk rock thrash record, and a really, really honest one too. Like there's nothing fake about that record. It's as real as they come, despite the genre hopping and all that stuff. Like it's serious business.
Yeah, dude, I love how we just went on a whole 10-minute, 15-minute tangent on metal, like to wrap this thing up. Thank you. This has been such a fun episode. Thanks for
John,
being
I had so much fun,
dude. Thanks for being my first guest back. I feel like the future's bright for King Gizz and the pod. I'm psyched to be back and to have you as my first guest. This is fun.
Man, thanks so much for having me. I had so much fun chatting with you, man. Even if it's not on the podcast, I hope we do it again.
Fuck yeah, man. Stay in touch.
Nice.